there's been, you break out your skew, and then, those that were sleeping the last time you demoed, now they're seeing your skew for the first time. So there's questions about your skew. Can you go through it and explain it to them? And
I always get questions about my skew.
I
My
know,
skew is
I
nothing.
know.
My skew is nothing complicated. It is basically a round bar skew. I buy it from Ashley Isles. I buy it off the shelf. The only thing I ask him to do is to grind it for me. He grinds it off. You could probably grind it yourself. I can't be bothered at the grindstone, so he grinds it to this angle for me. If anybody in the UK buys it, they ring Ashley Isles and they just tell him that they want a Clarkson grind on the end of the skew, because there is only me that uses a skew that is basically the angle at the top of the skew is roughly 45 degrees. So you've got 45 at the top, you've got 45 down each side. So it's 45, 45, 45. To give you an idea. It's a very, very different way of using a skew. Let me just grab a little piece of
that's on mommy. Okay, you know what? I'm sorry. That's right. I am a professional. I studied chiropractic for 3 years.
It's not quite as hard as that. Let's go with this because it's the only bit of wood that I've got to hand.
It's about a ½ inch, Leonard.
We will have 2 minutes on it, Dane.
You'll have to switch your camera, Martin.
Yeah,
I can't.
rotate your.
Dane will.
Yeah. No,
Dane will
switch your.
in a second.
Rotate your. No, tilt your camera down. There we go.
That's a bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, all I've done is I've just dropped a block of wood into the center there. I'm just checking it against my tool rest to make sure that I'm somewhere near. I'm a little bit off at this end. This is the worst piece of wood that I could have probably picked because there is a huge great knot here. So we will put glasses on and we'll get the roughing gouge out.
John, I hope you're on and looking at this.
I can feel that knot every time I hit it. Okay. So the difference with my skew is it will allow me to trim up the end. So I've got point contact on both sides. I will now decide where the center of that is. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look and see if we can get something that's somewhere near round. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to look.
Yeah, everyone do notice how we're cutting uphill. It can be done. You're muted, Martin, unless you're not talking.
I'm not talking, I am now. You will
Okay.
notice the difference on this skew is I make point contact most of the time. So whereas with a traditional skew, everybody teaches you that you should not use either of the points. That's incorrect, because as you come round a corner, you really need point contact to be able to come round of that corner and down into it. And the same with this side. If I don't make contact with that point, as I come round that corner, it wants to throw the skew away. So you've got to have the point contact. You see, instantly, as soon as that point at the bottom loses its traction against that cut, you're going to lose it. The same when I come up over. I make point contact and I can turn round, down and in. Now, some people say what you're doing is you're scraping. You are not getting shavings like this if you're scraping. If you're scraping, you're getting dust. So this is not scraping, it is cutting. But it is cutting uphill because I've made the point contact. And I personally, I find it easier to come round that corner that way than to take that skew round that corner that way. So you're not only using the skew backwards, you're using it upside down. Is everybody still awake?
Yeah, we're listening.
Hey, Martin, you're
We're
just about ready
fascinated.
to knock your skew on the ground.
You're roughing gouge on
You're
your.
roughing gouge.
Because it's,
There you go.
it's underneath. It wants to go on the shelf. Don't ever leave tools on your bed bar, says he.
Right.
We got somebody else, Martin, who'd like to see the other tools you used, including the scraper.
Yeah, well, I use the skew. I use today I've used parting tool, and I've used spindle gouge. But this one was actually quite big for the for the demo. Really, I struggled when I was getting in with that smaller one, but I couldn't be bothered to change tools over. And really, it was not necessary. Most of what I do is rough and gouge and skew. So it's very rare that I actually change my tools. I'm a big believer in, if you use the same tool over and over again, you will get a lot more prolific with that tool. How many of you have tools that are on the shelf that you've used once or twice and then put down because you don't feel like they're doing what you want them to do? You know, I don't want to say because you can't use them. I want to say because they're not doing what you want them to do. Whereas if you pick them tools up and you force yourself to use them tools, you will find they will become your friend. You know, when I first started using a skew, I always say this: when you get a new skew or any new tool, there's no instructions with it. For some reason, they sell these tools with no instructions. And really, if you just practice and you become prolific with that tool, you will find that it will be your go-to tool all the time. Whether that be a skew, whether it be a spindle gouge, whatever it is, just keep practicing.
Right.
Make yourself use it. Yes, literally get it off the shelf, make yourself use it. If you get a catch with a skew, or you get a catch with one of your spindle gouges, ball gouges, understand why you got that catch. And if you can understand why you got that catch, you can then correct it next time. And most of the time, you will see, even on a piece of wood like this, I get rid of the waste. Don't have anything in your way. If you run a tool into a wall, you're going to get a catch. So like here, get rid of these outside edges before you start turning this ball or the sphere or whatever shape you're creating. Get rid of anything that is in your way so that you can't hit it. Because as you come round a corner, if I come round that corner with a skew and I get down there and this is there, I'm going to trap that skew in and it will always want to throw it out. And that's when you're getting your catches. As you're coming round that corner, it will go in and you'll either bite because you've got too much of a tool, or it will throw it back out because it wants to throw it back out. The same as when you attack a bevel on the side of a bowl, it always wants to throw it out, and that's why we destroy the outside edges of a bowl. You know, when you're going to make that last cut and you just come onto the edge and you miss that bevel and it wants to throw it back out and you come across the bowl. It's because that tool does not want to go the way that you're wanting it to go. It instantly wants to throw it back out. So try not to trap your tools and make sure you've got rid of any waste that you don't need. 45,
Martin.
45, 45.
45.